And here we go. Oh my gosh. What are you guys doing here? Today's a very special day. We're not playing video games today. We're gonna try something different. Gonna try to switch things up a bit. We're gonna make computers do things we want it to, because that's how I pay the bills these days. I am a programmer, and I always thought it'd be cool to teach people how to code through Twitch. So we'll see what happens. This might be one of many different kinds of episodes of this. Who knows? Who knows? I'm just going on the fly right now. I'm totally making this shit up. Whoops, profanity. I'm totally making this stuff up on the spot. I'm going off the inspiration of the many programming books I've read over the years. A lot of intro courses to software development and things like that. But I'm confident I'll prevail. Maybe next time I'll actually have a teaching plan, but I didn't go to school to be a teacher. Went to school to be a programmer. Oh, we have a student today. What's up, Snowba Bear? Welcome to ICS 21. It would be terrible getting our degrees all over again. Did you know it's going to be 10 years since we graduated UC Irvine? Can't believe this. Can't believe this. My cousin is smarter than me. When I was 18, she got into UCSD. I did not get into UCSD, so very much of a congratulations to that future Triton. Yeah, we are old motherfuckers, and still here, still twitching, still playing video games, still living, seeing what this life has to offer. And I thought it'd be great to I don't know, give back. I've been doing lots of taking, so I think it's only proper that I give back. And the way I'm going to give back is by teaching people a pretty decent skill. I think you could pretty much sustain yourself with a nice skill that helps you pay the bills. Get some avocado on your taco when you feel like it sometimes, you know, that kind of thing. But if you want to be a little bit more comfortable, maybe you should learn how to flip houses. I don't know. I'm sure there's plenty of ads for that. In the meanwhile, discrete mathematics. Were you in my class for discrete mathematics? Was it the Asian dude or the old guy who's been teaching math since World War II? That guy was something special. Anyway, let's see. So, what we're gonna do is we're going to learn Python, cause that's what the cool kids, well, not the cool kids. That's what I use at work. We are gonna tame some snakes. So, I expect you to kind of have a knowledge. Why would you learn how to program if you didn't know how to use a computer? Baby steps. Please have some kind of decent idea of what to. Please know how to turn a computer on and like type stuff on a keyboard. Maybe even move a mouse. I think that'd be excellent. I think just the fact that you figured out how to watch my Twitch, you were able to watch my Twitch channel, I think that means you kind of know how to use a computer. And I think that's really all you need to know. So you know how to make a computer do things at the very basic level. Now we're gonna make the computer do things at a more advanced level. And the thing is, to do that, you have to talk the language of the computers. And there's many ways to talk the language of the computers. You can get as low level as this shit is off, this shit is on, this shit is off, this shit is off, and this shit is on, aka binary encodings. But we're not going that far. We're gonna do a few steps up. We're not going to manipulate registers and put values into parts of the CPU, and well, technically we will be, but we'll be maybe I should tell motherfuckers what low level and high level is. See, when a man and a woman love each other, silly. When a man makes a computer, there's memory. I really should have had a teaching plan, but before we even get there, just know we're gonna go the easy way. Let's get our feet wet with some coding. So, we're going to use the kind of language that's fun for everybody. We're gonna use Python. So, everybody go download yourself some Python. Go to python.org. Very easy. And download the latest installer. I don't know what you're running. You could be running Windows. You could be running Mac. Who am I really? So let's go to Windows. And the latest, I guess, at the time of this recording, in this moment in time, on June 9th, 2020, 3.8.3 is the hot new version of Python. So go ahead and download that, and let's see what happens. I actually already have it installed, so in fact, I probably have an old version. What do I got? 3.8.2. I also am running something called Visual Studio Code. You may have heard of this company called Microsoft. They were very prevalent in the 90s, and they made Windows, and they even made a goddamn video game console in the very next decade. But they're a pretty big force in software. You probably have Outlook or something like that. But they actually have some pretty nice development tools, such as Visual Studio. But they made, what is this? Like a text editor, a pretty good text editor. I like it. I use it at work. Visual Studio Code. It's kind of like a very watered down Visual Studio. You supply your own compiler, I guess. I'm pretty sure that's how that goes. So, let us install that. I'm sure if you can just Google Visual Studio Code, install that. Please tell me you know how to install Visual Studio Code in Python. I didn't come here to teach you. If you don't know how to do that, you should learn how to do that first, and then come back to 9 minutes and 50 seconds into this video. You're absolutely right, Snova Bear. Notepad++ is another great text editor. I'd say much more lightweight than Visual Studio Code. Oh, Sublime. I was using Atom for a while, but I think the what was it? Why did I not like Atom? I don't know if it was just hogging way too much memory for me, or like I have to open some big ass file, like 5 megabyte files in a text editor, and like I don't know, I can't remember if it could handle that, but I knew there was a reason I didn't use Atom anymore. Yeah, Visual Studio, man. But I like Visual Studio, but I don't actually use it for C++. Well, actually, I did for this one particular project at work. But I like Visual Studio Code because it has these cool text editors. I mean, not text. It had these cool plugins. One of which was called I just had it. Where was it? It was just up here. It was called power mode. And whenever you text stuff, it like there's these goddamn particles that come out of your letters when you type, and that's just I'm a sucker for eye candy, so I'm just gonna use that text editor. That's what I'm into. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah, I have my preferences. That's the one thing that Visual Studio Code got for me, and it just feels good. But I think I was thinking about switching to Notepad++, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, let's start with the very basis of let's start with what everybody learns when they learn how to program. Printing text. Yes, I would use a text editor if there were kung fu noise. Well, the kung fu noises can't be too annoying, but like if shit exploded every time I typed, and if you could do something cooler than this, like just oh my gosh, look at all that stuff that's flying off my text. Oh my lord. Okay. Yeah, I might just use it. I might just. Anyway, let's make the computer say something. How about that? So, yeah, Python scripts, they usually have a file extension of .py. So, don't be a dick about it. Just keep it .py. Why would you name it with a different extension? I don't know. So I'm in the working directory of where I wrote that stuff. There's my lesson.py. And, yeah. Anybody want to take a guess on how to print? There's a function out there that prints things. You think you have a pretty good idea of how to print stuff? I do. I'm just wondering if you guys do. There might be a function out there that just straight up prints text. This is like a terrible episode of Dora the Explorer, but no responses, so that's okay. I am using 3.8.3. Oh, whoops. 3.8.2. You're absolutely right. I don't know how I'm supposed. Probably could not have done this lesson without people specifying what I'm saying. I do not have a. No, that's a lie. I do have a printer. It's also a scanner, and it's also a fax machine. And I'm looking at it right now. It's a HP LaserJet 200 color MFP. I got it for Christmas. But yeah, we're doing Python 3 because I don't know, that's just what we use at work. And I'm a sucker for surrounding my prints double quotes with parentheses. So I don't know if anybody would believe this if I told them, but to print things in Python, there's a function called print. I'm gonna start writing that in here. And lucky for me, Visual Studio Code already knows about this print. That's the great thing about these advanced text editors or IDEs. Sometimes they'll even autofill things in for you. So that's that's more than half the battle. You're just like, oh, okay, there's a function right there, and there's some art. Oh, and ain't that great? It gives me the arguments and tells me all sorts of cool things I can do. Print the value to the stream. Okay, so a lot of cool people. Well, most people who start I don't know why Hello World is the golden standard, but I like to spell world like Juice WRLD the rapper, rest in peace. So I'm gonna go save This script, I don't see any. Usually, with good text editor might tell me if my Python code is fucked up before I print it. Let's see what happens if. Nope, no underline, no nothing. Nope, didn't tell me something was going. Oh, there we go. It took it a while. Syntax error. Very important, but I'll get to that as soon as we figure out if this even works. Oh god, if people even know how to use command lines? Oh lord. So, damn it. It never occurred to me that some people could know how to go onto my Twitch channel, but they might not know how to use a command line. See, back in a long time ago, before people could point and click on icons and stuff, people literally had to just type stuff. If you see a movie where there's like hackers and stuff, there's always this like black and white or black and green text bullshit. That's always what they're trying to imitate, and that's what computers looked like back in the day. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the command prompt like a bunch of nerds, and we're going to try to run the script. Sometimes you gotta start with absolute basics. Black magic. Yeah, as the great Sir Arthur C. Clarke said, any sufficient technology is indistinguishable from magic. I think that's how the quote is. I'm sorry if I fucked that up, Sir Arthur C. Clarke, rest in peace. But this stream must go on. Okay, so you might notice in the bottom of the script, is 720p enough? Do I need to up the text? Can you guys see what I write on this text editor? This is terrible. I gotta up the... I should probably zoom in more. There we go. How dare I? Just doing this coding exercise and nobody can see what I'm writing. Control plus equals. I think I'll control plus equals again. Oh, that's too much. Now I can't read. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Duck Dog. Where am I? Okay. That should be enough. Yeah, we got it now, and we can see everything now. So at the bottom of the screen, I should probably move my face eventually too. So here's your prompt. If you got Visual Studio up, you can just drag it up from the bottom, put your cursor right there, lift it up, and now you got yourself a terminal. And I hope to God you're in the same working directory as the code. I hope you know what working directories are, because I'm not going to go into that. So hopefully you're in the same directory as where your Python script is. And if you are, you're going to type Python. First, if you installed Python correctly, you can do this, and it'll say, hey man, you got Python 3 point whatever. I think I told you to download 3.8.3. So mine says 8.2 because what really changed? You can check on the website. So if you got Python working, let's try to run this code. I saved it as lesson.py, and I'm going to press enter. In 3, 2, 1. Haha! Can you believe this? Can you believe I made the computer say hello world, similar to rapper, ex-rapper, rest in peace to Juice WRLD. Now, it's here. What more can I do? Well, there's plenty more you can do. You have taken your first step as the software developer. Oh Lord, am I gonna have to start teaching O notation and all this stuff? We'll get to that. We'll eventually get to that. But you know, we'll start out with the baby steps. So what did we do here essentially? Big O. So if we look at this syntactically, we told Python, hey, we want to call this function called print. Print. That's how usually all these functions goes. They all got a name, and then they all got. You can usually pass parameters to a function, and then we say, hey, we want to call print, and then we want to send some parameters to print, and that will be the string that it prints to the screen. And we say, hey, we want to print hello world. It doesn't even have to be hello world. It could be hello world with an R, like a normal person. But it has to be in double quotes. Actually, you know what? That's a lie. You can also do single quotes in Python. Why? I didn't make Python. Don't ask me. But it just makes it easier when you mix quotes and double quotes in here. Or you can do it totally the opposite, but whatever you start with, you gotta end with. And if you have the same thing as what's surrounding with, you gotta delimit. And now I gotta teach you guys about delimiters. Oh, this is... What have I gotten myself into? But, yeah, this is about the time I should probably teach you guys about types. And, yeah, this is what have I done, Snowball Bear? Then I'm gonna have to tell these guys about Turing machines and, then I'm gonna have to, this is terrible. Then I have to tell them about electrons and, oh, Jesus. One step at a time. You know what? I don't know anything about user experience developments. I just place buttons wherever I want, and I place input things. We'll get to that lesson. It's not gonna happen anytime soon. Oh Lord, I'm gonna have to become a teacher on the side. All right, so gonna teach you guys about types, which will eventually lead. Actually, you know what? I should probably teach you guys about mathematics. I hope that you at least took pre-algebra. Did they have variables in pre-algebra? Pretty sure they had them in algebra. But we're not going to talk about algebra right now. We're going to talk about variables. Good. I'm glad they did. So we're gonna go into Python, the interpreter itself. You can do this by just typing Python and not even putting any scripts in. Just straight up Python, and then you'll see the good old things here that tell you what kind of Python you're running, what data was compiled, what system it was compiled for, things like that. So now that we're in here, yeah, Python is, or programming in general, is a great way to calculate things, because that's mainly what these computers are for. Believe it or not, is doing a lot of calculations very fast. Because back in the day, was it World? Did they have computers in World War II? Or were they still tabulating shit? I feel like no. They had the Enigma machines and stuff. It wasn't really a computer. It was almost there, but I forgot what decade or what war that they had to calculate like cannon trajectories and things like that. And you can believe that wasn't that quick. They had to hire a few guys to do that. And then they had to hire a few more guys to verify that those few more guys' work was actually correct. So, good thing we got these computers, right? No more tabulating, no more abacuses. Now just straight up, hey computer, what does this plus that equal, or what times that? So great thing about Python is you can put in some math in there, and would you believe that 1 plus 1 is 2? Couldn't believe it myself. So you could even multiply things. You could even exponent things, but that's the same damn value. You can even divide by things. Oh, now I'll have to talk about floating point numbers. It never ends. We'll get to that eventually. I walk by faith, not sight. So, shit is getting wild, Snowman. Yeah, well, that's why we're not doing C++. Actually, we will have to do some casting eventually. I was gonna make a casting joke about like furniture. I don't know, like love seats or maybe even couches, but no, this is going to be a fun for all ages kind of programming. So we got numbers and we got strings. We represent all sorts of. We represent these things as variables. So you might have seen things like let's create a variable. Let's A. That sounds good. First letter of my name, A. Let's give it. What's a good number? What's a hot prime number? 5. That's a pretty good hot prime number. And let's do another variable. Hey, 5. High 5. High fiving with Duck Dog. I mean, what's a good power of 2? Anybody? You know what my favorite power of 2 is 32. So, all right. So 128 is also a good one. 128. That's how. You know, we'll use 128. Fan supplied numbers. I like that. So, we just told Python, hey, we're gonna store the number 5 in a variable called A. It's gonna be an integer. And say, hey Python, I want to store another number, 128, a nice hot power of 2. Let's store that in B. So Python will keep track of that as long as we're within scope, which we will discuss scope at eventual lessons. It never ends. This is the worst spiral ever. Oh my lord. Knowledge is power. So, what can we do? We can do all sorts of things. We can, you ever wanted to know what 128 times 5 is? Well, we do now. So, instead of doing what? Straight up 128 times 5, we got 128 in B and 5 in A. We can just multiply them together like a calculator. And we can do some crazy things like even printing it. Let's see what happens. Oh, and by the way, you can just use the quit function in Python. And now you're out of Python, but let's go run this script that we just saved. Python lesson.py. And if we wrote this code correctly, 640. 128 times 5 is 6:40. No doubt in my mind. Hey, what's going on, Frosting Fire? Am I learning or I am trying to teach Python at a very basic level. I am trying to I'm give back to my community. I don't know. Yeah, man. Do you code in Python? Yeah. Yep. During the day, I am a developer, and I just thought it'd be cool to I don't know, just start teaching Python on Twitch when I'm not playing Street Fighter or Final Fantasy VII Remake. Just doing an experimental stream right now. Oh, okay. Oh, you're a computer science student. Where do you go? Where do you go to school? And how long? What year are you in your schooling? Oh, dang. Okay. Clearly, I don't know what the name of this school is. All right. Are they teaching you Python there? Or? Oh, okay, a little. Just a little. Welcome to OCD Savant / ASM / Andrew Santa Maria's Python coding stream. Shoot, do you have anything that you're having trouble with in school with Python? Anything you want to know? Maybe we can help you do your homework, my man. Oh, Java is... I think Java's a little bit harder, but still much of the garbage collection is done on the thing. That's how I was too. I'm actually a self-taught... The first language I ever taught myself was C++, because I was trying to get into the game development game, but that shit's hard. But at least I know how to make 3D graphics related things. What kind of dev work do? I make like scripts and utilities for my coworkers at work. Yeah. I think it was learning C++ first was beneficial for me. I kind of wish I learned about... I kind of knew about Python, but I didn't really jump onto Python until like much later in my software development career. It was strange. It's like I learned everything. It just felt great. I'm like, wow, this thing, I don't have to create stuff. I don't have to delete stuff. This is a dream come true. But here I am trying to make dreams come true for anybody who aspires to have a pretty decent gig doing the programming thing. At least until they make artificial intelligences that program things for us. So while we're still alive, I got myself a computer science degree, and then I started off as like a test engineer, and then I became a programmer, and then that's... I already had that programming kind of experience, and then I just started off as a test engineer. Those were only gigs available, and then had to prove myself, and I fought to survive, and yeah, here I am as a professional coder, and now here I am at 5,000 kilobits per second at Twitch TV / OCD Savant, playing Final Fantasy VII or Street Fighter in my spare time. Yeah, I was a nerd. I was, so it was interesting story, interesting backtrack off this programming lesson. In 5th grade, I don't know. How old are you? How old are you, Frosting Fire? I'm 32. I'm old. Not 45 old, but I'm old. 28. Oh, 26. I don't know if you ever heard of Hydro Thunder or any of those Thunder arcade games from Midway. Um, but when I was in 5th grade, my 5th grade teacher married the... Was he the head developer? I don't know. He was a programmer at Midway. He worked on Hydro Thunder. And she told him about how much of a nerd I was. And he was nice enough to give me his copy of Microsoft Visual C++, I want to say 5.0. So that's the nicest, nerdiest thing anyone's done for me. But, you know, the sad thing was I didn't really, like, know what to do with it until 6th grade. 6th grade, I went to a bookstore and picked up, well, I didn't pick up, me and my mom went there, she bought it for me. It was a book called Teach Yourself C++ in 24 Hours. And that took 24 years. That took a really long time, is what that did. Yeah, what kind of 5th grader gets a C++ textbook? That's why I waited until I was a 6th grader to get a C++. Yeah, man, C++. Oh Lord, and I don't even know new C++. I just know I. Oh my God, like I know. I would say I'm fluent in like 1999 C++. That I don't know any of the new stuff. The last thing I learned was smart pointers. Anyway, yeah, when I was in 6th grade, I would just try to teach myself C++ and make doing object oriented things, and you know, by I'd say by high school, I kind of gave up programming for a little bit. I was more interested in like just playing video games, and I was really into 3D graphics. Like I was really into 3D modeling was what I was into. I've just always been a fan of video game technology, so I was into 3D modeling. And then by high school, I'm like, you know what? I should pick up this. I should learn how to do C++ again, and I would like program my own version of tic-tac-toe and things like that. And by the end of high school, I was like trying to make graphics engines and things like that for video games. And then by the time I hit college, yeah, I just learned a bunch of stuff. Learned O notation, got my degree, and yeah, I was still doing like C++ related stuff. Or when I went to school, Java was the hot language to teach the kids in school. But yeah, C++ for the game development. Python I picked up while I was in the working field. So, but Python's like my favorite language right now because I can do damn near anything with it, and there's so many libraries. There's nothing I can't do in Python except make a fast optimized video game. That's where the C++ comes in. So, but here I am as a career change. What were you trying to do originally? Oh yeah, this is like the time. I can't imagine any other time where there's always people always need a software guy for the most part. In this digital world, you better know how to code, and that's why OCD Savant is here teaching you how to code. Where was I? Oh yes, we learned that 128 times 5 is 640. Can't believe that. It's all positive vibes here. All positive programming. We're gonna make it. You gotta want it. This coding stuff is not easy. JavaScript. I don't know what my problem is. I just never really got into web development past HTML. As soon as they started introducing that CSS stuff, it was like it was done. And I got into that stuff early. I was what was I doing? I had a I had a GeoCities, I had an Angel Fire, I had a Tripod, I had all those free website things, and HTML, man. That's the last time I picked up some new things though. Yeah, man. It's the pursuit of that free time after work. That is the toughest of the tough. But man, I have a book. I want to get into app development. I have a book. It's the willpower that I need to. I just need to pull it out of me and just look myself in the mirror and take my hat off and my glasses off and just say, "Hey, man, you gotta learn how to make these apps." Gotta listen to Eminem. You gotta learn, man. Oh yeah, React and Node. That's the future, my man. Objective C. Hey man, you already. I think you're on a good start. It helps to know a lot of languages. Yeah. Cross-platform apps. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, just put it. If you can just run it on the web, I guess. All right. Where was I? I gotta look that up. React Native. So what? Can you use the same code on like iOS and Android? This React Native stuff. I am vastly far behind in the world of software development. React Native. Wow, you might have just saved me some time, my man. Thank you. Gotta get these apps working. React Native. I will remember this 43 minutes and 59 seconds into this video. Okay, so yeah, A times B, and that was what we did. We just multiplied them together, and could you believe that you could store that value in another variable and print that out and get the same results? This is for the people who are new to coding. I'm sure I'm boring you guys with the with the stuff that you already know, but you know, just for the folks who are actually watching for education, I'm trying to teach the basics of the basics, but not too far basic. Yeah, that did take a while just to multiply some numbers. We went on some wild tangents about the about my whole life as a software developer. But yeah, we just multiplied some numbers together. And we stored them in a variable called C, and we printed it. So what we did is we said, "Hey Python, could you print can you print what C is?" And it did it amazingly. So these variables, they all have types to them. And there's a neat little function. It's called type. I don't know if many people know this, but you could find the type of a variable just by passing it to the function type. So let's see how Python feels about what the type is of the variable C. There we go. It's an int. Yeah, I feel like I shouldn't even be telling people about types yet. So, you know, at the very basic, at the very basic of the basic, you got these variables, right? And you can represent numbers, you can represent strings. I'm not gonna get into characters because that's a very C++ thing. So S. Let's say we wanted to store the string hello world in the same spelling as our favorite deceased rapper Juice WRLD, and store it in S. And we can even pass that to Python, and it'll print hello world. That's the magic of programming. You just tell the computer to save stuff into memory and then recall it later. What are some cool things that we can do? Oh, floating points. Yeah, that's a good one. So we all know that 128 is an even number and this is an odd number. Or we all know that you can't divide... We all know that a floating point... what is the mathematical term for... You divide a number by a number, but there's no remainder? Oh, okay, it's divisible. There we go. 128, probably not too divisible by 5. Let's see what happens when we divide 128... Oh, sorry. By 5. What kind of crazy number are we going to get? 25.6. Okay. And what kind of number is the variable stored at D? Whoops. Forgot to save. Float. Oh no, I just casted. Ugh. More on... Well, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about next. Casting. There are no mistakes in this channel. Okay. So that's a float. Because it's got that point in there. And float, that's how you can represent those fractional numbers. 3.14. 2.2. Exactly. You either win or learn. I think Tupac Shakur said that. But I think somebody else might have said that before Tupac Shakur. The more you know. So. This doesn't work on all... casting doesn't work on all variables. But for these basic ones right here, for the most part, it's like, so we know that D, when you print that out, what if I don't want it to be a floating point? Or what if I want the integer representation of that? So we just run ints as if it were a function and pass D to it. It becomes 25. How magical. Or let's say we wanted let's say we want that number as a string for some silly reason. There we go. Of course, it's still going to print 25, but if you print it out... I mean, if you print out its type, it's going to say it's a string. Now, like I said, you can't... Sometimes it's not that intuitive. Sometimes you can't cast this string that says "Hello World" into an int. What kind of monster are you? If my calculations are correct, the Python interpreter will tell me I have a serious problem and I can't do what I'm trying to do right now. Exactly. That's the great thing about Python, or most compilers at least. It will tell me that it will tell me what is wrong with my code. So this is actually the most useful part of any kind of coding. Really nice debugging here. So, in this file, lesson.py on line 7, how did it know? Pretty amazing. Invalid literal. Then the exception is called a value error, because how the hell are you supposed to convert hello world into a number? You probably have to write that function yourself, because it's not very intuitive. So we talked about types, we talked about casting. Just casting. Man, what else we want to talk about? What other things? How far do we want to go with this? Oh! Conditions. We're going to talk about conditions. Man. Who doesn't love conditions? And mint conditions. So, let's think of a cool condition. Some Pert Plus, some shampoo, some conditioners. I'm trying to think of a good condition. This is where I'm gonna have to freestyle this stuff. Really basic stuff. So there we go. Number guessing game. Some Garnier fruit teas, some Head and Shoulders, some L'Oreal. Yeah, so let's play a number guessing game. How about that? Oh damn it! No, first I should teach you guys how to receive inputs. So it'd be like, hey man, what's your name? So this script will effectively swap. For shampoos, I just use. Oh, I forgot who used it. I typically just use the soaps or whatever my wife gets, but I have psoriasis, so I got a special shampoo just for psoriasis. Hereditary skin diseases. Anyway, so what this script is gonna do is it's gonna ask you for your name. You're gonna enter your name. It's gonna print it back out, because that's the basis of any great application: input and output. You feed it some information, then it gives you the feedback that you're expecting, like a good script is supposed to do. So, there's a neat little function. It's called inputs. And it takes a string, and that's what it prints before you have to enter in something on your keyboard. And once you're done entering something on your keyboard, it stores it into a name, whatever. It returns what you typed in, so you can use that and store that into a variable. I should probably teach you guys about functions right now. How dare I? Okay, we'll get back to this later, because I feel like I gotta teach you guys how functions work. If you took any kind of mathematics class, function is exactly what you think it is. Because I can't think of a more specific definition. Function, you give it some input, it produces some kind of output. So, we're going to define a function right now. How about name? I'm sorry. We're going to essentially define print. Oh, square. How about that? How do we square a number? A number times itself. So, So DEF, def. In and out. That's what a hamburger's all about. For an In-N-Out nearest you, call. I wish I knew what the rest of the numbers were after 1888, but. And I worked there for a few years too. How dare I? So here's a function, so we first tell Python, hey, we want to write a function. We're gonna define a function. Hence this def, which I can only imagine is short for define. And we're gonna give this function a name. It's gonna be called square because that's what we're gonna try to do. It helps to make specific function names. Typically when you write code, or wherever you are, you might be working for a company, you might be working for yourself, who knows. You want to write code for the next person who's going to have to modify whatever is wrong with your code. It might be tomorrow, it might be thousands of years from now. Somebody is going to have to look at your code and figure out what you were trying to do. So, put in comments. Hell, I should have told you guys about comments too. This is a never-ending I'm going to be here until the morning. Comments. Comments are very helpful in the world of coding because it's in the name, code. No one's supposed to know what codes are, but we're trying to help out the person who's coding. So comments are very helpful. You typically it's like hints for whoever needs to read the code. Like maybe future me, maybe this is like Memento where I just want to write some hints for myself in the future. So I'm gonna write a comment, and comments, you make comments by putting a hashtag in front of it, or I don't know, pound sign. Is that what old motherfuckers like myself used to call them? But yeah, put a hashtag in front of it, and so when you feed the script to Python, it'll ignore anything that has a hashtag in front of it, I believe. Yes. Okay, so that's why when I run the script, it's not going to care about this random print here. It's not going to care about this prompt or input. So this hashtag is right here, and I'm going to say this is the square function that I'm going to make. So as we were saying, we're going to define a function. It's called square. And it takes some kind of variable, n. And then, what are we going to do? We're going to square it, aka multiply it by itself. So, we're going to pass in a value to square, and that value we're going to multiply it by itself. How do you do that? You got that n. Oops. What are these crazy letters? Oh, sorry. We're going to take that n, we're going to multiply it by n. And then we're going to store it in results. Think about that. And what do we do? How do we produce that output? We return that result. Here's something very helpful. Oh, here's just another, damn it, I forgot what it's called in Python. I don't know if it's like signatures or, function signatures. I don't know, but when you do okay, so there's another form of comment. Let's say you have. So if you want to just comment one line, you put the hashtag, right? If you want to do just multiple lines of comments, like you're trying to write a novel or your autobiography and your source code, you surround it by triple quotes, or you can either do triple quotes or triple double quotes. Why they allow you to do this, I don't know. I didn't write Python. So now you can just write this for ages and it doesn't even matter. Because whatever's between the triple quotes Python doesn't really care about. Ain't that great. So, usually what I do is these immediate comments under the function. Yeah, it is like magic. It just doesn't care. It doesn't get picked up. And you can store you can store anything in there. So, while in Square, immediately after the function declaration here, signature, I'm probably getting these words mixed up. But when you're in here, family trees, illegitimate children, and all sorts of things we can store in our comments. Storing my autobiographies. So Square, I'm going to say multiply a number by itself. Arguments in, I usually say what it is and what I'm expecting it to be. Actually, you know what? Doesn't necessarily have to be an int. It could be a float. Let's specify that. Because remember, somebody is going to have to read your code one day. If you're working for a company, and it helps. Really helps to help the next guy know what exactly these functions do. Some people don't have time to fucking analyze code. You can save a lot of time by just explaining what you're doing. Some number. Returns. The number times itself. Okay. So now that we've done our duty to be a nice person and explain what that function does, it's called Square. So many bodies in the comments. So now Python knows we have a function called Square. Now let's test it out. Print. What's a cool number to square? Anybody? 7? I think that's a... What number should we square? Snova Bear. Should we square power 2? That's okay. I'll supply the number. We're gonna square 69. A nice number we got there. So let's store the number 69 in nice. And we're going to print the square of 69. Let's see what it is. 4,761. Nice. Nice squared. Is this still a fun-filled, children-friendly programming lesson? Well, after I said shit and fuck a bunch of times, I might have to bleep that out. I gotta hire somebody to go through this. There goes my dreams of... Did I say square of nice? Moving. Square of nice. So, what just happened? We made a function, and we printed out the results of that function. Oh, I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. How dare I just square 69 like that? So, let's make use of variables, shall we? Square nice. And so we tell Python, hey, let's make this function that squares a number. And we're going to square 69. But first, let's store that in a variable called nice. Let's square it and store it in a variable called results. And let's print that result. And that is still 4,761. just as God intended it to be. And with that all written up, let us continue with that last thing we were trying to do. What were we trying to do? We were trying to take inputs and produce output. Okay, that'll be the last lesson for the night. So, as I was saying, now that you know how functions work, I hope I taught that correctly. We got a function. Well, there's the Python library comes with all sorts of stuff that just already exists. Input is one of them. Input is a function that takes a prompt or a string, a string which displays before you have to enter in some string in the keyboard, and once you press enter, I imagine once it detects a new line, it stores the results into name. So I imagine I don't know what input looks like. It probably looks something like keyboard. What's result? And then return as. Oops, sorry, result. I imagine that's what it looks like internally. It's probably more complicated than that, but that's not that is way past the scope of this lesson. A lot of things are past the scope of this lesson. We'll discuss a lot of things much later. In the meanwhile, so we want Python to say, "Hey man, what's your name?" We're gonna have it say that before it takes some keyboard input, and once you give it your name, it'll store it in a variable name. And then, when all is said and done, is going to say, "Hi, whatever your name is." And, oh god, do I have to do arbitrary arguments for print too? Oh, god. Okay, well, arbitrary arguments. That's way too advanced, right? That's way too advanced before bedtime. So, let's just say if you want to, I gotta go over string concatenation. I hope that's how to say that word, concatenation. The end of this sentence will mark the third time in real life I have ever said the word concatenation, and I can only hope that's how to say that. I'll have to figure that out later. Anyway, so comma usually when you set it to print. Well, I'm glad you think that's right, Snowbear. So when I say hi, comma, name, that just tells Python, hey, let's print hi, and then space that out and print name. I think that sounds pretty good. Let's go see what this script does. I commented all that stuff I wrote previously, so Python won't care about it anymore. Let's see what happens. Look at that. It says, hey man, what's your name? And then I say, none of your goddamn business, with like 3 exclamation marks. Maybe I'll put a 1 in there. And it did it. Oh my gosh, it totally did it. Would you believe that it asked me my name because I put it in the prompt here, and then I plugged it in to this function called input, which, like I've said for many times, it takes your keyboard input, but first it prints that prompt, and then takes your keyboard input, stores it in a name, and with that name, I printed it out, but first I say hi, and it says hi, none of your goddamn business, bunch of exclamation marks with 1 at the end. And that concludes the lesson. Maybe I should assign you guys some homework. Wait, no, I have to... Nah, I'll teach you guys about conditions tomorrow. Or whenever I decide to teach programming again. But I think... yeah, we learned a lot of stuff today, actually, man. We learned about types. We learned how to run Python. Ah, damn it! You really wanted to learn conditions, huh? Okay, fine. Yeah, I got 3 minutes. Let's do. We're gonna do conditions real quick. So what we were trying to do, a number guessing game. So, yeah, conditions. I think you really just conditions are probably the most critical part of any kind of programming, because shit, data changes all the time, and you're always doing things based on what the data is. So, let's see, number guessing game. So first we're gonna have a number that we have to guess. We'll just say 3. And we're only going to give you one guess because that's all I have time for. Your dumb ass has one chance to guess this number. I should probably store that somewhere. Oh, yes. Prompt. Okay. And then okay. So the number we're trying to guess is 3. Man, I'm gonna have to turn this into a goddamn game development stream. Yes, we're effectively doing game development right now. This is gonna be exactly why I went in the game, son. So, prompt. And then, just what we learned earlier. You get some keyboard input. We're gonna enter the results. Oh, this is gonna be a great chance to do some debugging later. So we gotta check for a condition. That's how these things work. And we got all sorts of conditions. You can check if something is equal. You can check if something is not equal. You can check if something is greater than. Good God, you can check if something is greater than or equal to. You can check if something is less than. And oh my lord, you can even check if something is less than or equal to. I can't believe this. What other conditions we got? You can check if something or another thing is the case. Or you can even check if something and another thing is the case. I don't think you guys are going to be using exclusive ORs right now, so that's all we're gonna take care of. So how do we know if we guessed the right number? When the number you entered equals that number previously, because this is that number that we're trying to guess. Right? So, we start off with an if. If that is the number, if we guess the number, we're going to say, hey, you won. I told you. And then, if that was not the case, else, hey, you suck. Or lost, or whatever. That's what happens. So let's look through this code again before we run it. Can you spot what's wrong with this code? I can. Okay, so the number we're trying to guess is 3, right? This is what we're going to say before on that keyboard input prompt. And once you enter in that number, we're going to store it in results. And now that we have your guess, we're going to compare it against what the number is that we're trying to guess. That's where that equals comes in. That's the syntax. If the result is that number that we guessed, this script will say, hey, you won. If your dumbass did not, it says, hey, you suck. /lost. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to write 2. I don't know. I'm pretending not to be the person who wrote this goddamn script. Hey, you suck. I entered in 2. I pressed enter. It went through this logic. Results equals number. This was not the case. This is a false. I should have explained what booleans were, but I'll explain that later. In a later thing. But, yeah. I lost because that wasn't the number. The bool pool. I probably should, but we'll learn about booleans later. The first thing we're going to do in the next lesson is learn about booleans. Better hold me to that standard. So, what if I do guess the number right? Hey, wait a minute. My dumbass had one chance, to guess this number. I entered 3, and it said that I suck. Still, that doesn't make sense. I typed in 3, and the number is 3. Why would 3 not equal 3? Maybe it's because it's a different type of variable. Input returns a string. And when you try to compare a string to an integer, chances are that shit is not going to be what you think it is. There we go. Duck Dog's got it. Them types. So what do we got to do? Hey, baby, are you watching me program on Twitch? That's my wife. She's sexually harassing me while I program. Anyway, so while we got an we got an input. This is a string. It returns a string, but it needs to be an integer for this stuff to work out. Now, you can do this anywhere, but it needs to be done before the number comparison. So I'm going to I'm going to cast it to integer right here. If I were a good person, yes, I am a good person. Why don't I just cast it over here instead? Actually, if I were a better person, whatever. No, I gotta set a better example for these children. I think that was one of the pillars of Python, that you always gotta, one of the pillars of Python is just like, be clear with your code. It's probably another great reason I like Python, is not just the compatibility and like the cross compatibility and all these available modules, but they actually encourage you to write code that is readable, and that is very helpful for the next person that has to read your code. Yeah, camel case is readable. That's a C++ thing. I don't know if you are familiar with PEP 8s, what is it? The standards for great Python code, but yeah, they want us to do that underscore shit. In C++, you can do result int. That is the camel case. In Python, I have trained myself to do that underscoring stuff because PEP 8 said it was cool. So, let's start from the beginning. we got this 3, which is an integer, which we store into number. That's the number we're trying to guess. We got this prompt that profanely asks you to guess that number, which is 3. We get keyboard input and ask that profane question and store the results. Now, the result is a string, and we cannot be comparing strings to integers. So let's cast that result string into an integer, store it into another variable, we'll just call it result int, because it's nice and clear. You want to have nice and clear code. Don't listen to anybody who says otherwise. And so let us now we say, hey, let's check if results equals, let's check if that freshly casted to an int result equals that number, which is 3. And if that's the case, if this is true, say hey you won, and if not, say hey you suck. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna say 3. Ha! I won. And you know what happens when I won? I get to go to sleep and conclude this lesson. Here's some homework for anybody who wants to do homework when they have a job and they have kids to feed and things like that. I don't know, make some kind of script that uses a conditional. Maybe my dog ate my digital homework. Maybe write a script that asks for your name, and if your name is the same as some other name, if your name is the same as my name, you could be like, hey, my teacher's name is Andrew, or otherwise say, yeah, that's a pretty shitty name, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Why don't you make those conditionals work to your advantage? So, my job here is done. Thank you very much for watching this interactive Python teaching class I had here. Can't believe, man, that was a good turnout. 3 viewers, I'll take it. Man, thanks for coming out. Thanks for supporting. You can find me on Instagram as Andrew Santamaria, or you can find me on Twitter as Andrew Santamaria without the E between the R and the W. Or go on PlayStation Network. You can find me as OCD Savant. After all, that is the name of the channel. Oh, thanks. Thank you, Doug Dog. That feels good. I'm gonna sleep well tonight knowing that I did all right. Thank you guys for watching. I've been, you guessed it, Andrew Santamaria. You can check me out on AndrewSantamaria.com for all your Andrew Santamaria needs. I'm glad I was entertaining. I think I'm onto something. Thank you very much, guys, for coming through. Have a good night. Wash those hands. Black Lives Matter. Don't forget that. Enjoy yourselves, everybody. Have a good night.